going to be spending most of the time in this class on the floor, either on our backs or on our bellies. And what you are going to need today is a strap, and you can do it without a strap if you don't have one. And if you want to put something under your head when we're laying on our backs, grab a blanket or a couple blankets, or if you have a styrofoam half dome, couple of chip foam blocks, that will be more than enough. We're going to start on our backs on the floor with our knees bent, feet on the floor. You're going to cross one leg over the other. So see if you can get the legs really nice and close together. It doesn't matter what you do with your arms. You're going to begin to just do a really small twist in the direction of the top leg. So my left leg is crossed over my right, so I'm going to tilt my pelvis to the left. And notice it's just a really easy twisting. Nothing huge. But as I'm moving, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but the foot that's on the floor, it's hinging like a door. So I'm not keeping the foot flat on the floor. I'm allowing the foot to move with the bottom leg. Now you're not twisting so much that you can feel a shoulder coming off the floor, which would probably be the bottom leg shoulder. So in my case, my right leg is at the bottom, and if I twisted quite a bit, the right shoulder would probably come off the floor. I'm just doing a really nice, easy, not a lot of effort twist here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the pelvis to become a little bit more mobile. I'm trying to get the muscles in the waist between the top of the pelvis and the lower rib to start to move. You may even feel the muscles in the belly kind of reacting to the movement as well. So don't put a lot of effort into this, just a nice, easy twisting. And then let's try the other side. So this time it's going to be my right leg over my left. I'm going to begin to twist to the right and then back again. You may notice a difference between one side and the other. You might find that when you're twisting in one direction that the movement just comes natural. In the other direction, you may have to think about the movement a little bit. You might kind of feel like things are a little bit wonky on one side compared to the other. So with me, I'm really trying to pay attention to how I'm moving on the right side of my pelvis. We're going to move a couple more times and just see if the brain can get used to the movement without using any effort. A few more times. Notice if you can feel the twist in the waist, maybe in the belly muscles. And then one more time down and coming all the way back up. So you're going to uncross your legs. You're going to give yourself not a huge tight hug, but just something really nice and comfortable. We're going to do the same thing here. So in this instance, my right arm is on top of my left. So I'm going to begin to do an upward twist to the right. So whatever arm is on the top, that's the direction you're going to twist in. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm trying to pay attention to keeping my pelvis nice and soft, nice and quiet, so I don't lift up the left side of my pelvis as I'm twisting, because I want to twist in the upper body. But another thing I'm noticing is that my knees are actually touching. So I want to make sure that my knees and my feet are hip width apart. So I've got a few things to think about as I'm twisting to the right. And a couple more times. Notice if your pelvis has quietened down a bit. Notice if the movement isn't as static, it's smoother. Move your head with your upper body as well. Let's try the other side. So this time for me, it's my left arm is on top, right arm is on the bottom. I'm trying to keep my legs, my feet hip width apart, and begin to move in the direction of the top arm. Again, you're trying to use the muscles in the waist. Those are the muscles that you're trying to get to move, as well as the muscles in the shoulders, the rib cage. Take your hand or hip, take your head with you. And then just like the legs, notice if it's easier to twist in one direction versus the other. And it's just an observation, that's all it is. And a couple more times. And then come back to center. If you have a strap with you, I'm going to get you to grab the strap. If you don't, you're going to interlace your fingers, palms are facing each other. So if you have a strap, the arms and the hands are shoulder width apart. Begin to make circles over your belly. So you're going to try to keep the pelvis really quiet. Try not to twist the upper body. It's just the arms that are moving and the shoulder blades that are moving. So anyone that's actually has their fingers interlaced and their palms together, we're going to do that right away too, just to show you how to move in that position. And then change into the other direction. Again, you're going to notice if one direction moves better than the other. Try not to hold your breath. Notice if you're bracing anywhere as you're doing this. Let's see if you can quiet those areas. Notice my arms are straight. I'm not bending. If your arms bend, you're just going to lower your arms a little bit to make the circles. So let's bring that strap down. Interlace your fingers, palms are touching. Same thing. Now here, what happens is that you're not making as big of circles because the arms aren't as wide. They're very close together. But you're still getting mobility in the arms here. And then change directions. Again, you're trying to keep the pelvis quiet, trying to keep the upper body quiet. But notice how the shoulder blades are moving with the arms, and they're supposed to. Okay, and bring the arms down and just notice how they feel. I want you to extend one leg out nice and straight on the floor. Lift up another leg. See if you can get it in that 90-degree angle. We're going to twist in the opposite direction of the leg that's up in the air. And just like when we were twisting with our legs crossed, we're going to move or use the pelvis to do the movement. So you're going to roll over. Your pelvis is like a big bowl. And what you're doing is you're tipping the bowl to let the water out, whatever's in the bowl. See if you can feel both shoulder blades on the floor. You want to see if you can get the pelvis itself to move. And come all the way back up. And change sides. Now a lot of times what will happen is in this position, we are not used to getting the pelvis to move on its own with the leg moving with it. So we might move the leg first. We might cross it over. Try not to. Try to keep the leg and the pelvis moving together. And see if you can keep the upper body nice and soft. See if you can feel both shoulder blades on the floor. Notice your breath. If you find that you're really struggling for breath, just come out of the twist a little bit. You don't have to go into it a lot. You're moving within your range of motion. So if this is your range of motion, that's where you're going to go. If this is your range of motion, this is where you're going to go. Come all the way back up. Draw both knees in towards the chest. Round up like a nice big ball. Bring the feet on the floor. We're going to do a side bend in this position. So I want you to lift up your shoulders and your head off the floor and move them to the side. And then place the shoulders, the shoulder blades back on the floor. You're looking at the ceiling. You can bring your arms overhead if you'd like. See if you can get a little bit more of a stretch in the side body. Try to feel both sides of your pelvis touching the floor. And if you find that one side is lifting up, I want you to adjust the pelvis so that you can feel both sides on the floor. Bring the arms up. If they are to the side, you're going to shuffle to get into that straight position again, and then we're going to move to the other side. So you're going to lift up the shoulders and the head, the shoulder blades. Slowly bring them down. Feel both shoulder blades on the floor. Both sides of your pelvis are on the floor. And then if this is enough for you for a side stretch, stay here. If you want to go further, bring the arms overhead. I don't want you to bring the arms all the way to the floor. For some of us, that might cause the rib cage to lift up. So only bring the arms overhead as high as you can without the rib cage popping up. And stay here for one more breath. And then come all the way back. Bring your head down and just take a few breaths here. Notice how you feel. Notice if your breath is a little bit more calmer than it was when we started the class. And then we're going to roll over onto our bellies. And I'm going to go into this position just so that you may be able to see me a little bit easier. So on your belly, I want you to feel your two hip bones and your pubic bone. And that will give you a neutral spine. I want you to place hand over hand and bring your forehead to rest on your hands. I'm going to lift my head up because you won't be able to hear me if I bring my head back down. But as you're bringing your forehead down, see if you can feel your bottom ribs on the floor. Actually, all your ribs on the floor. Legs are hip width apart. And begin to bend one leg and then bring it down to the floor. Just simply bending and straightening. So remember that your forehead is resting on your hands. And then move to the other side. And just notice what you feel. You find that maybe the front of one leg is not working as easy as the other side. Now let's go back to the first leg, and we're going to bend the knee. I want you to flex your foot and see if you can get the heel to press up towards the ceiling, or you feel like it's pressing up towards the ceiling. Now keep that resistance there. Very slowly begin to lower the leg. So with that resistance, hopefully you feel the muscles in the back of the leg really working here. And you're going to take your time bringing the leg down. Same thing, pressing through the heel, creating resistance in the back of the leg, very slowly bending the leg. Let's try that 2 more times to a count of 5, lifting it or lowering and lifting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lifting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check your hip bones and your pubic bone and your ribs. Coming down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming up. 1, 2, 3. Feel the back of the legs working. 4 and 5. And bring that leg down, and just notice that there's a difference between the leg that you were working on and the leg that was on the floor. There may be. So let's try the other leg now. So we're going to bend the knee, going to push the heel up towards the ceiling, and we're going to begin to lower. So you're creating resistance as you're pushing through the heel, and then lifting up or bending the leg. And then we're going to do this 2 times, counting to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lifting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming down. 1, 2, 3. Are you feeling some cramps in the back of the leg and the hamstrings? If you are, then you're just going to release and then come back into what we're doing. Lifting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring the legs down, shake them out, see how they feel. Pick a leg, curl the toes under, push through the heels so that the knee is lifting up off the floor. And you're going to again see if you can get the leg really nice and long. See if you can get your leg bones, it feels almost like the leg bones are trying to press out through the heel. And what you're doing is you're doing hip extension here. So the hip or the leg is moving backwards. And bring that leg down. Compare one leg to the other. Let's try the other side. Curling the toes under. Pushing through the heel, feeling like your leg bones are coming out through your heel. Pressing through the heel. One leg might feel different than the other. Two more breaths here. You've still got your forehead on your hands. And release. From here, you're going to take your hands, you're going to place them on either side of your chest. See if you can get your palms lined up with your underarms. and your elbows are going to hug your body. Check to see if you can feel your pubic bone, your 2 hip bones, and your bottom ribs. Now keeping those points on the floor, I'd like you to lift your chest up. Now notice I'm not going very far here. And then slowly releasing. Again, lifting and releasing. If you feel this in the lower back, you're lifting up the rib cage too much, you're going further than just lifting up your chest. You should not feel this in your lower back whatsoever. This is all upper back. Lifting. Notice that I'm not lifting with my head. My head is moving with my chest, my upper back. Coming down. And one more time, lifting. And releasing. I want you to roll over onto your side and take the leg that's on the top and you're going to extend it out to the side. From here, keeping that leg out, allowing it to slide on the floor and seeing if you can lay on your belly. Now, the hip is going to come off the floor. And just stay here for a few moments. If this is too much of a stretch for you, you've got a couple of options. You can either start over again and just bring the leg down a little bit so that the stretch is not as intense. Or you can bend the knee and do the same thing. You decide what's best for you. And just relax into the stretch. Again, you're not going past your range of motion. You're going to allow the nervous system to accept what you're doing. And then slowly straighten the leg or bring the leg all the way back. And then we're going to try the other side. So I'm going to go on the other side. I'm going to switch sides so you can see what I'm doing here. So I'm laying on my side. Bottom leg is straight. Top leg, I'm going to come out to the side and very slowly begin to roll over onto my belly. Now, do you notice, I don't know if you can see here, I'll see if I can bring the leg down a bit, that the knee isn't collapsing on the floor. And this is really cool because if you feel the knee collapsing onto the floor, I want you to see if you can lift it up, and you may feel in the hip socket that there's a little bit of rotation outward. And my foot, it's the outside, or I'm sorry, the inside edge of my foot that's on the floor. And that's come out of that. And then we're going to roll over onto our backs again. Grab your strap if you do have one. So from here, let's do a little bit of that twisting that we did at the beginning of the class. And just notice if it's a little bit easier to twist. Notice if you've got a little bit more of a rhythm. And then let's try the other side. Again, you're twisting in the direction of the top leg. A few more times. Notice if it's easier. Notice if both legs move more fluid. Okay. You're going to uncross your legs. You're going to grab a strap if you have it. And if you don't, you're going to interlace your fingers, palms are together. And begin to make circles. And just notice if the arms move a little bit easier than they did at the start. You might find that you don't have to think as much about doing this. Change directions. Bring the strap down. If you want, you can stay here with your knees bent, feet are on the floor. Or if you want to, you can extend the legs nice and flat onto the floor. It's totally up to you. You close your eyes. I'd like you just to notice your breath for a few moments. I want you to begin to breathe in and out to a count of 4, and I'll count with you a few times. So breathing in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come to your natural breath. Lay here quiet. And allow your body to begin to sink into the floor. Notice if you're holding any stress anywhere, any tension. Use your breath to release or relax those areas. If you'd like to stay here for a few more minutes, please do. I'm going to be ending this class. Bringing your hands into prayer. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be happy and peaceful in heart and mind. May I be healthy and strong in body. And may I live with ease in the midst of things as they are. And very slowly open your eyes. And have a great day or a great evening.